And headed out to meet the group. It is supposed to be very windy coming back. We have a lot of wind this time of year until like probably late October, early November from the southeast. So it'll be coming from behind me and to the right. So coming back, we're gonna be fighting the wind. But it doesn't really matter. What you have to do is there's not much of a tailwind. It's early in the morning. You can see the trees aren't moving much. But just you have to pace yourself, and then if you're riding in a group, you guys take shorter pulls and so forth. So hopefully I'll get some clips that would demonstrate it if we get people that want to ride properly, because we rarely do, so you never know. So I hope you got a chance to get out this weekend, this Easter weekend, get on your bike, spin out the legs. It's good to be back in the saddle regularly. For the last couple of weeks, I've been able to get back on my program. So I'm doing a very long ride today. That's my goal.
On this ride, I left Northampton, rolled into the Woodlands, headed towards the Alden Village Center, picked up the group there. We went on Research Forest, Fish Creek, Honia Egypt Road to Grand Lake Estates, the Hills Parkway into Keenan, till Keenan cut off the Spring Branch Road. Once we got into Gary, we went through Tri-Lakes, Dobbins, we took Mount Moriah, got back out past Dacus, into Jackson, Bethel into the forest, 149. We came down 149, it was very windy. We took Hidden Forest Road on Pleasant Road, back to 1097, stopped at Taco in Montgomery, then continued on 2854 Mill Route, Capitol Hill. Fish Creek brought us back into the Woodlands, directly into the wind. It was a very good ride. We filmed the first hour, so we filmed until we got to the Tri-Lakes area. I'm sure you will like the clips we put together for you.
You recorded the first, yeah.
So the goal is to make this group bigger, because I want to encourage all levels to come out. So we split the groups, and we separate maybe about a minute between each group, and we're all going to the same place. And so more and more people feel comfortable coming out. I think it's going to blow up because it's one speed. I want to have multiple speed.
Thank you for putting it on.
It's going to be there every week. I'm going to be putting it there every week because I need more people coming out.
What we're talking about here is I've started loading our rides on Chasing Watts, which is a local ride finder for the area. And I'm trying to attract different levels of cyclists to our rides.
Every week. Same area,
so
but different way. Today is a lot of climbing, because where we're going is be almost 3,000 feet.
Rolling hills.
So yeah, the hills are nice. And my favorite part of this route is Johnson Road. It's really beautiful.
I'll follow your lead. Is that that's Johnson Road? It's the little secluded in the forest, right? It's
Dacus. No, before you get to the actual forest, before 1097, after Dacus.
Oh, okay.
It goes up to 1097. Then Bethel is the one in the forest.
So the challenges we have in our area, I take the time to make a map, put it out there. No one looks at it. Very few people. And just some people don't want to invest a little bit of time to study the route. They have no idea where they're going, even though they come out every week. And it can be a headache.
Let's go, guys.
All right.
The only rule is be safe.
So whenever we start the ride, there is always a lull. When we say, let's go, people are still hanging around. So I just roll out. It's time to go. We clip in at 7:30. If you get there late, you're going to be chasing a group. Clipping in at 7:30 means your people need to get there before 7:30. They need to be ready to go at 7:30. A lot of people show up at these rides with issues with their bikes. And I wonder if they even ride the bike during the week. Because, you show up with minor issues. Did you not know it was there? So I may make a video about, the expectation when you go to a group ride. You should be able to be self-sustainable at your group rides. Don't show up at group rides to beg people for tubes when you have a flat. That's just rude. You need to be able to sustain yourself. You should have flats. You should have tire levers, everything you need. You know, your spare tubes. If you're riding tubeless, you need to make sure you have plugs or whatever else. Or you're supposed to carry a tube anyway. So if you get a big enough hole to where the sealant can't work. So you kind of have to make
only when I'm
sure
on vacation because
that
I work during the week.
you are
I can make
self-sustainable.
those Tuesday and Thursday rides, but I only do them when I'm on vacation.
We have a lot of cyclists that show up to rides to put on a show. I've talked about it before. And they end up, the people that usually do that have no clue
You left pretty
that
quick
they're supposed
on
to,
the
first of all,
ride
you need to
on,
find out who
White
you're
Hawk.
riding
I was
with.
looking for it.
You know, if you're new to the ride,
Okay.
don't just show up and start putting on a show, because when you start having problems later, they'll remember what you were doing. And you'll probably be riding home alone. So,
If you got a group, yeah. Understand by yourself. But even by yourself,
so rolling out,
you can
kind of a nice, easy warm up.
How old are the kids?
I have a 1.5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Okay.
We're on Research Forest Boulevard here in the Woodlands, heading out. That's Ed on my left, rolling together. He's talking about he was in New Jersey and they have hills out there. Oh, you guys are fortunate you don't have hills out here or whatever. We have hills. You know? We have hills and we have wind. We have bergs like they have in Belgium. So you ride with the right people, you'll feel it. So, but I'm not sure what the significance is, but we have a lot of people that every ride they have the same conversation. It's as if to say they don't remember they've already told you that the sun rises in the east, which blows my mind. How do you have a conversation with someone and then the next week you say the exact same thing? That tells me that your conversation is not genuine, because you don't even remember that you've already said that to that person before. You know, sometimes it's best to just say good morning and ride your bike. I prefer that than to just have aimless conversation. Quite a few people every week, they say the same stuff. Paul got a new bike weeks ago. He brought it to the ride. Everybody saw it. Every week they got a comment about the bike. I mean, give it a rest already. Clip in, let's go. You probably have riders in your group. Every week they want to talk shop. They want to talk about the latest Di2 and all. Who cares about that crap? Let's ride. You know, this is time for a ride. You know, whatever Shimano is doing, you go open your wallet and give them your money. As I've said before, sometimes just say good morning, get on your bike, ride your bike. I prefer meaningful conversations. I don't care for shallow conversations. And if the conversation is meaningful, you will not repeat it the next week because you thought about what you were saying and you meant what you were saying. It was genuine. It is the weak conversations that have no meaning, that they can't remember. They've already talked about that same topic with you. So a lot of times I just let them talk and my mind just drifts somewhere else. I basically tune them out. You know, there's all that chatter. You know, when I was growing up, you know, it's like there are times when you have to learn to let other people speak. You might learn something. Paulie Longa always mentions, he said his parents told him that when he was younger, that if you're the only one talking all the time, you're not learning anything. So, makes sense to me. So on these rides, good morning, how you doing? That's fine. I don't need to get into your personal issues because if we were tight, I'd already know. We're just here to ride. The rides you go to mostly, most of the people are just your acquaintances. They're just people you ride with. You don't need to know all the nitty gritty of what's going on with them unless there are members of that group that you're tight with and you're close to that you meet away from the rides. So you'd already know. So that's the thing. It's like, what's the point of me finding out what's going on with you when you're not a part of my inner circle? I don't need to know. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's too much going on to be worried about other people's stuff. So it's like when the ride is like this, they just feel like they have to talk. Just ride, just spin. Good morning, how you doing? Oh yeah, I saw you on that last ride there. How was it? How'd it go? That's good enough. You don't need to know what's going on in my life, nitty gritty, that you don't really care about. So what's the point? What are we getting into that for? Get a lot of people asking you a lot of personal questions that don't know you. Like, why do you need to know? You're not writing a book about me or something. So I don't get into all of that. I focus on what I'm doing. I keep my eyes on the wheels in front of me and around me. Because the more you ride in these rides, and riders of all levels show up, you got to watch them. Not everybody is paying attention to the different skill levels. We have a rider in this group that has a brake that's rubbing, it's a rim brake, and it's rubbing. And somebody, later in the ride, you'll see they stopped. I didn't stop, I just kept spinning. Because it's kind of like, it's such a minor thing. How do you not know your brake is rubbing when, those of you who have carbon wheels, you know how it sounds. There's a tweet going on the whole time. How do you get on your bike and you have that sound and you don't know it's there? Plus, when you put your bike together, let's say you get it off of your rack or however, if you drove to the ride, that's the first thing you're supposed to check to make sure things aren't rubbing and not having any issues. But it was clear because I observed the wheel. The wheel basically needed to be true. It had a blip in it. That means there was a spoke that was off tension. And if you keep riding like that, the other spokes will get out of tension and you'll start breaking spokes. So these problems become bigger problems if we don't address them. Keep your bike ready for all your rides, not just a group ride. You're going to work out, your bike needs to be ready. I have different sets of wheels that I train on. I have different sets of wheels that I do my big rides on because I want to have my best equipment. Today I'm riding the orange bike and I have tubs or tubulars, sew-ups on them. That's what I wanted to ride today. I have a spare sew-up under my saddle strapped with a leather strap, like back in the day. And the ride is just sublime. I really love that. So I don't train on my tubulars because they're just not practical for everyday riding. But I do carry a sealant and I carry a spare tubular as well. I carry Stance no seal. And I keep my tubulars in good condition. So even if you're riding regular clinchers or whatever, have a set of wheels for your big rides or your group rides. And then during the week, switch the wheels and put the ones that you train on. Because then what you'll know is that you're using your best tires for your more important rides. Just like you wouldn't wear your church clothes to do the yard, so to speak. That's for all levels of riders. Riders in the know, I have multiple sets of wheels that I've accumulated over the years. But a lot of new riders may not be aware of it, and that's why I'm mentioning it here. You want to come to the ride knowing that your bike is ready, meaning don't do anything new to your bike the morning of the ride. Make all your changes on the Thursday or the Friday before that ride. Ride with the new equipment or whatever, make sure everything's fine, and then just come to the ride so there are no surprises. You shouldn't come to a group ride and waste other people's time with little mechanical. There are a lot of rides in the area, and I heard from my brother, he was mentioning some ride he went to. Out of the parking lot they arrived with problems. That's just a disrespect and a disregard for others' time. So you come to the ride with problems, you're going to be going back home. We have a lot of people that have electronic shifting in the area, and for some reason they don't think they need to check the charge. I mean, the people have made the stuff so easy you can use it. They've got a button on it that you can check to see the status of your battery. Plus, it takes months for you to run out anyway. That's just, if you're going to buy stuff like that and not keep up with it, you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. Because whatever it is you buy, you're supposed to keep up with it. It's the same thing with the mechanical shifting. You got to keep up with the quality of your cable. You have to service that. The cables don't last forever, so they don't break on you on a ride. You have to monitor those things. If you're riding these bikes miles and miles away from home, you need to keep them tuned. So don't let other people waste your time. I have no trouble leaving people that come with foolish problems to the ride, problems that could have been prevented. I'm not wasting my Saturday working on your bike. That's not a bike clinic, it's a bike ride. It's not a bike repair clinic, so to speak. We're at 1488 in Montgomery County, Texas, heading out towards the open road. The construction has gone down. You see those yellow barriers in the middle of the road there? That's to keep our fellow Americans from turning in front of each other and having head-on collisions. We used to have an open center lane when this area's growth was minimal. Now with the volume of growth that they had to add those because head-on collisions, they study the statistics. As head-on collisions increases, they get rid of those center turn lanes because a lot of drivers don't really know how to properly use them. Some of them get in too early, and so they're driving in the turn lane, and some of them take chances when they can turn everywhere. So with those barriers now, they limit where you can turn. It decreases the chances of head-on collisions. And people were still whining about it. I mean, literally a couple of seasons ago, we have a neighborhood app called Next Door Neighborhood. Somebody had the gall to put on there that they were building it on another road near where I live called 2920. And they were complaining that they couldn't turn right into the shopping center that they were going to. And someone replied and said, really? You're sitting your butt in an air-conditioned car and you're complaining about driving 10 yards further to make a turn or make a U-turn? I mean, that's how ridiculous it was. If you were walking, yeah, if you had to walk a quarter mile out of your way, that would be grounds for a complaint. But you're driving a car where all you're doing is sitting on your butt and letting it kill you literally because all you're doing is pushing on a pedal. You're sitting on your rear and then you wonder why you're out of shape and you're complaining about having to get that car to propel you 10 yards further before you can get into the shopping center. You know, that's how spoiled some people are. So we all piled it on that next door. Needless to say, the post was deleted. Because the OP, the original poster, didn't expect the response that they got. Like, get real here. What we need in this country are alternate forms of transportation. We're enslaved to the automobile. It's not a freedom. It's expensive. The insurance rates are high. The cars, the automobiles are expensive. Everything about it is expensive. So people are spending huge chunks of their income just to participate in society. We're not as free as we believe we are. They've pigeonholed North America into the dependence on the automobile. And it only benefits the people who make them and the people who sell gas for us to put in them. So yeah, so I ride my bike more than I drive the car that I own. Keep my engine tuned, because sitting around will kill you. You gotta move. Go walk, I don't care. Get out, use your body. That's what it takes. All right, we're approaching the open road. We have a subscriber on this channel that likes to hear the open road. I love that too. I love getting on the open road. I hate riding my bike in town with all the lights. You're stopped like a cheap watch every other block. Got a bunch of stop signs and red lights in town. So when we get out of town, you can go for a lot of kilometers without having to stop. So we're on the open road. We're heading out to Honia, Egypt Community Road. So I'm going to check, because I'm at the front of the group. I'm going to look back, and there are cars coming, but he let us go. So I thank him. And because we're going to be making a turn at about 100 meters down the road. So this road here, this section is called Honia, Egypt. And as we turn left, it becomes Honia, Egypt Community Road. And if you go straight, it becomes Sendera Boulevard, which becomes Fish Creek further down, Sendera Road. So we're now on Honia, Egypt Community Road. As soon as we turn, I told Ed, let's go single file. I'm in front, Ed is second wheel. On a road like this, we should be single file. So I've lined up, Ed is behind me. And you see everybody, those other two guys don't have a clue, but we're doing single file. And when you're riding with a group, you need to pay attention to what's going on. So right here, we should not be too abreast in the back here, because the front line is single. They should see that. But usually what ends up happening is once the pace picks up, it will happen organically. But this is not a road to be chatting on. One of my favorite roads in the area, Honia, Egypt Road, has a lot of character. So that area we just went over with the shaved area, with my tubulars, I barely felt that. They're so comfortable. You heard Paul say car back, they act like they don't hear it. I don't bother. When you're riding alone, nobody tells you car back, you'll figure it out. If somebody's nice enough to say car back and you act like you don't hear it, you will hear when they buzz by you close. People get in a group that act like they don't ride solo. Just because there's a lot of cyclists around doesn't mean you need to get careless. You know, it's clear that we're riding single file up there. So we have two people riding two abreast and everybody else is in single file. Like they don't see what's going on. And another thing, the two guys that are on the left are wasting a tremendous amount of energy. And you pay for that later. You can see Doug on the right. He's on the wheel. He's not working as hard. You see that guy in front to the left has to stand back there? That's inefficient. You're wasting energy. Every little bit counts. The human body has a finite amount of energy. You got to use it sparingly. And we all live in this era. We know there is no way riding single file I would be where that guy on the left is. No way. I would be where Doug is. And that's the way we're supposed to ride, so these guys can see around us to make decisions to pass. There's nothing wrong with taking up the whole road legally, but it's just a matter of courtesy. The other guy who was working hard, you notice he's not there anymore. Like I said, organically, he realized he was killing himself. Now he slipped in front of the guy in the white jersey there. You're not going to find very experienced riders wasting energy like that unless the ride is so easy for them that they want to make it hard. And then they will sit out in the wind on purpose. So when you're riding, you have to think about, how do I feel? How far are we going? What is the pace? Is the pace where I want to be? Is it below? If the pace is below, then you can sit off the back or sit to the side or whatever. You have to think about that throughout. You have to be looking for the draft all the time. So I'm still pulling. I pull for quite a bit. You'll see when I get off, because I'm trying to get the ride started so we can get going, get off this road. The road is nice to ride on, but it's not very wide, as you can see. There are a lot of country roads, and I'm sure you have some in your area. On these kind of roads, you want to ride where you see the guy in the blue is. That's Doug. for the most part. Those guys are moving over because there are some bumps or whatever, or we're going downhill, so they're trying to use the wind to slow themselves down. And then there are times when you may have to sit where Doug is. Let's say if there are a lot of cars behind you and it's too narrow, or there are oncoming cars and it's not safe, sometimes you got to move out. Well, whenever I do that, I do it early enough and I motion to the drivers behind. I put my arm out to let them know to wait. It's like a communication thing. Let them wait, and then once it's clear, then I move back over and let them pass. That's always nice to know, because once you do that and you communicate with them, it's not that much of a hassle. It's not a big conflict. You do have the right to use the road, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. So when I ride on this road, I ride where Doug is all the time, because 99.99% of the drivers will move in the other lane, or at least go over the yellow line as they go by. But this enables them to see around me to make the decisions. I still do keep my eye on them. I'm very aware, just in case they want to do something stupid. I have no trouble getting the heck off the road. Get out of the way. Anyway, so I'm going to pull off soon, I think. But this is how you should ride. See how the group is together. And so then when somebody is done pulling, you take over and keep the train moving at the same or similar pace. So you keep your group together. Especially on this day where we're going to be coming back into a southeasterly wind. As I mentioned earlier I've pulled off, and somebody's going to let me, I think Kenny's going to let me slip back in. And I'll just take the first available space because I want to get out of the wind. My heart rate is at sweet spot because I was pulling for a while. I'm looking back, Kenny sees me, he tells me, I thank him, and I just slip in front of him. I wouldn't have had any trouble going all the way to the back. But Kenny, who's in front of the guy in the blue right now, is recovering from injury. He had a fall earlier in the year, and he had surgery on his shoulder. So he's recovering. So his fitness is not where where it used to be. So he's letting me in because he wants to just kind of sit in, which is what you should do. In fact, at a stop on this ride, I told him you should be riding by yourself, because he had to let us go and he took a shorter route or whatever. But anyway, if you try to come back from injury too soon, you can set yourself back. Sometimes you got to ride by yourself, which he said he is doing, but then you got to pick the right group to join. And then you have to decide, okay, I'm not going to do the whole ride. But when you are with them, do what he's doing. He's sitting in the wheels. You don't need to put yourself in the wind if you're not feeling good. I only pull if I'm feeling good and it meets my effort goal for that ride. Hey, look at this line. This looks good. That's the way you wish you ride. It just looks good. We're all together and we're moving along like a train. And we finished mostly together. It was one of those rides. It really worked out. I was very, very pleased. I actually enjoyed the ride, because lately the rides have been too erratic. This is Pony Egypt Road. You see my heart rate has gone down about probably 12 beats. After I slip back I'm staying to the left. There's a lot of bumpy spots on this road. I'm staying on the smoother parts of the road. I always look around the riders in front of me. Just kind of lean my head and look around to make sure I'm not running into anything. It saves your wheels. All of that matters. Look at that. There's a dog shot. Look at his socks. He's got it looks like dots on this. This design is different than the left, but it's very visible. He's always wearing these unique socks. He and his brother. His brother's up ahead. I think in the neighborhood they end up talking together. We'll get to see both of them. Both of them got very visible socks on. Doug always does that. He always has special socks on these rides he comes on. We had a couple of people in the pace line today, not here, but off camera, that were kind of on the brakes. You know, you can tell when you just come up on the wheel in the pace line too suddenly that someone's on the brakes. And it wasn't necessary. That comes from a lot of inexperience. There are a lot of riders that get into the sport, and unlike those of you who are on this channel, don't seek out the how-tos. How to do this, how to do that, and they just kind of wing it. The problem with that is if you do it wrong, and you can have some issues like staying upright. You shouldn't be doing hard braking in the pace line when nothing's going on. That's why you see me drifting to the left. You see Kenny on the right. We move to slow down. It's like how do you say? Almost like you're skating. So it's gradual. You drift to the right, let the wind slow you down, you soft pedal. You know, I will show that more. You will see one, I think Paulie Longar will let me get in front of him, and I will show you how you do that for those of you who are not familiar. The goal is we don't do much braking in the pace line. You shouldn't have to. We're turning left up here. You heard me say left turn because the guy in front had his head down. He didn't look at the map. And we're not going straight on this road today. Sometimes we do, but it's not today's route. So that's Greg's brother in the white on the right. I mean, Doug's brother in the white. His name is Greg. Greg and Doug shot. I think he's waiting to chat with Doug. Now you see how Doug is hands-freeing, but look at the distance between his wheel and his brother. So because he was hands-free, he left a lot of gap in front of him. He drifted to the left, so he was not near anybody because he was looking at something. That's what you do whenever you're doing something unusual. Don't sit up and hands-free right on another wheel. That's just inviting disaster. There's nothing cool about it. You're gonna do that, give yourself plenty of room. Back off the wheel, because then the person behind you will feel more comfortable staying on your wheel knowing that you have cushion in front of you just in case. In fact, it's actually best to do what Doug did. He moved to the left, he sat up, he did what he was doing. No one was around him. He had a nice buffer. Just like when you move away to blow your nose or something like that. Anytime you get your hands off the bars, make sure you're not on somebody's wheel. I always try to keep one hand on the bar whenever I'm in the pace line. Even if I reach for something to eat, I use one hand. Because you don't know. Greg has 2 lights on his bike. So look at Greg's socks. They're black with white dots on them. Look how visible they are. That name Enbridge is an energy company in the Houston area. I think it's a Canadian company. I did some work with them when I used to be a consultant, software consultant a long time ago. Enbridge Energy. So they must have had some kind of ride or something that Greg participated in. Greg does a lot of ultra marathon riding. And he'll do 300 miles in one day, those kind of events, which I personally have no interest in. The most time I've spent on the bike was probably 8 hours in one day. That was it. That was a long time ago. So. I mean, I could do that, but it just doesn't interest me. It'd probably be more fun if you had a good group to do it with. and you're doing, let's say, 300 kilometers or whatever, say 250 miles in one day. Because I think that one of the events he did a year ago was 300 miles, or was it 200? It was like 200 in one day. That's a lot. See, he's on his bar, so he's not sitting on the wheels. Paul is following him just to get him in the frame. We're not really going that hard right now. I noticed that when he pedaled, he kind of moved his body back. It's almost like he's not happy when he's sitting on that saddle. Like once again there. I like coming through this neighborhood. It's very challenging. It's very safe. There aren't a whole lot of cars going by all the time. Even their speed humps are not that aggressive. You can kind of roll over them fairly easily. So always pay attention when you're around other cyclists, more so than when you ride solo. Anything can happen at any time. You must always be alert. Paul's using this spot to kind of get a good shot. The angle is a little off. Until he gets sideways, we look like we're leaning right, but we're not. That's just that wide angle lens. My bike's orange color matches that orange spot on the jersey. Look, it works really well. There's a certain shade of orange. Orange has a lot of, you got like reddish orange and so forth. You got to really get it right. Like just bright orange. The road kicks up here a little bit. Might get up to 2 to 3%. It kicks up again right here. You need to find the gear that you can handle.
Good pull, man.
These guys are going backwards, it looks like. I think he was pulling. I don't know who's at the front right now. I'm sitting on someone's wheel.
Car back.
Goes up again right here, and it kicks. Look at the grade. It gets there quickly. Close to 5%. I remain seated because I'm in the proper gear. You look at my cadence to get back up to speed. Saves your legs. That's the same stuff I discussed in the video released recently about acceleration in cycling. By using the proper gearing, you can save your legs for later in the ride. This is kind of a false flat, and it's going to kick up in a few 100 meters. Close to 5%, I believe. We've gone over the steepest part of this section. It's going to settle down. I think the guy who's pulling is going to pull off, and I'm going to take over. This is the subdivision that everybody recognizes in our area when we refer to it as the neighborhood, the Grand Lake Estates. We're on the open road. Grand Lake Estates, the Lake Hills Parkway. The Hills Parkway. I believe the gate is open as we approach it, so we don't have to stop. I want to thank Paulie Longa for the excellent camera work on this ride. He finally gave me something that I was enthused to make a video about. Last few times we've been out, I put the camera on the bike, and the rides were kind of meh, you know. So I'm not sure if the guy who just pulled off is Alfonso or Stephen. I met two new riders on this ride. I put the ride on a public board, and it attracted some people that normally don't ride with us, so that was kind of good to see. I'll get a better view, I think, when he rolls by the camera here. Okay, this guy's name is Alfonso. He was the one that just pulled off. He has kind of an exaggerated gait where I talk about that the human leg does not go straight up or down. He's one of those riders that actually shows that more than we normally see all the time. I stand in a moderate gear, just keep my gear rolling. Keeping the effort steady. I'm hearing somebody's bike. You hear that da, 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 da. It's almost like it's in between gears. If that happens to you, get it addressed. You know, it just needs a minor adjustment, because it's just rubbing. It makes you work harder. It's not efficient, and you're wearing your drivetrain parts. I check my bike fairly frequently, at least every week. If there's any issues on any ride, I address it right away as soon as I get back. I let them know it's clear, this intersection, so we roll through. It's going to kick up to about 4% or so here. It's a short little bump. So I just stand to keep the same gear rolling. I'm going to sit. It's been a long time since I really enjoyed the ride like today, and we all stayed together. It was really, really good. We're going kind of on a false grade, and there's a lot of wind coming from, I believe, the right. In a little bit, I'm going to pull off. This is a slight downhill. I think I'm going to pull off so Ed can take over. I've already waved him up. Let me look at the back. Ed that's pulling. Doug is on Ed's wheel. Paulie Longa is on Doug's wheel with the camera. In about 2 kilometers or so, we're going to get to the end of this road and we turn, and I'm going to roll up behind Doug's wheel. Doug took some nice pulls when we're in the forest off camera and on Mount Pleasant Road coming back. We had some good work on this ride. You hear the wind. We're not getting any kind of aided speed here. We're working for it. Pretty mild terrain. It's relatively flat. The dynamic map that you see in the top right has frozen. It's not updating anymore. Something happened with the GPS signal. As you can see, the sky is very overcast. And usually you have problems with GPS. I had not noticed it before. This is kind of the first ride. But the guys that provide this software provide really good support. So it told me that the problem is persistent. They'll look into it, but they haven't seen it. It was working fine. It just stopped at around 36, 37 minutes. It stopped updating. They said they hadn't seen it do that before. But it's not a major thing. I mean, it's a nice to have. I really like it. Everything else is still updating. Apparently that map relies on internet connectivity signals, and so maybe there was an issue when I was exporting it, because in the actual telemetry software, it continuously updated. So it might just have been a glitch. We're approaching Keenan Cutoff. We're in a town called Keenan, Texas. It's actually clear on both sides. So I'm on the right, and I will roll around Paul and fill this gap. All of that just to pass bicycles doing 20 miles an hour. Gas is still too cheap. This part of the road is lumpy. Some nice sections, but they're kind of gradual. You can see in the distance there. Gradual climbs. 3-ish percentage. 3 to 5 until we get to 149. Starts to kick off here. You have to find the appropriate gear for you. I really like this jersey that we designed with Pedal Mafia. I sent a copy of the design to Suki and they tried to put together a copy. Right here, I downshift and spin up. You see my cadence? A lot of debris. That's all you have to do. Let people know. They can't hear you. You will see that take effect. We're going to approach 149. We're going to call out, let the rider up front know cars back. And I guess he didn't hear us very well. He ended up getting in the road, and there was still a car coming. He apologized later, but you got to be cautious. You got to look. You got to look behind. Because I was calling, I was telling him car back. He was two riders up from me. I was in the same position here. You'll see it. You have to be careful all the time. You got to make sure you look. Being in a group does not mean you relax. So as you condition yourself, depending on the condition, like you can see, we're doing almost 24 miles an hour, and I'm at the top of zone 2. So you have to be patient and condition yourself. And depending on the terrain, you're not always going to be stressing yourself out the entire time you're riding, and you have to ride smart. I'm sitting on Doug's wheel. I'm staying in shelter as much as possible. And the whole time I'm following here, I'm looking around Doug. I'm in third position. When I look around Doug, I can see the road because the rider in front of Doug is about the same size as Doug. So I don't need to look around both of them hard. I just look around, I can see. So I see the obstacles before they even point them out. And that's what you have to do. You have to always be riding. You see me pointing stuff out. There's a hole there. Somebody yell hole. That's ineffective. Just point. Just point. Something's there. Move away from it. That yelling, nobody can hear you. We'll see it happen. We tell the guy, car back, car back. Obviously, he didn't hear us, I guess. But we shouldn't have to say that. He should be looking. He should look behind before he gets out on the road. Even with the mirror on my bike, I don't depend on it 100%. I always look back to make sure. If there's nothing there, fine. But if something's coming, I always look back, make sure how far is it or whatever. How fast are they coming up? That was Paulie Longa's radar, that sound you heard. I don't have mine on this ride. I took it off the bike. There's another car coming. We're turning right. We get to the corner. I'm looking as well. You see me look left? It's clear. So we let them know it's clear. There's no car coming. And I can see in my mirror there's nothing behind us at this time. So I stay on the road because the rider in front of me, Doug, is pointing out. You see him pointing? There's a lot of crap on the shoulder. Sometimes people leave their garbage cans, and there's a lot of debris. So I stayed on the road instead of trying to go and then jump back. And then I realized nothing's coming. The lane's clear behind me, so I continue to stay on the road. I will stay here until it gets a little busier, then I will get on the shoulder. But right now I'm like, okay, and I can see the cars when they come up behind me. You can see them moving over. So I just stay here for now. So I could see that car in my mirror long before he got to us that he had moved over. And so I just stayed there because nothing's coming in the other lane. Now in about a kilometer, we're going to be letting the rider in front of us know we're turning left and that he needs to wait because there's still car back. We kept saying car back. It got a little sketchy. The driver ended up blowing at him because he gets on the road. The rest of us stayed on the shoulder. In a little bit, I'm going to get on the shoulder because I see it getting a little busy, and this is an uphill, but they can't see over that hill right here. I think it's somewhere here. I'm going to just get over quickly because those rumble strips right there. And then Paulie Longa will do the same thing. When you go over those rips, you just get over quickly. Get over. You don't want to ride on. There's a little bit of gravel that washes off when it rains from the side street. So this is what we're going to be telling you here. You pay attention now. I'm saying car back, car back. He goes on the road. We're telling him car back. I'm sure Doug is telling him car back. I tell him again. I'm looking in my mirror. I told him car back. And that's why the guy blew, because he got there at the last minute. Now it's clear, but there are cars coming the opposite way on that hill. So we stop. You see me? I let everybody know we stop. There's another car coming.
Car.
Paul said car because he thought I didn't see that second car because I looked behind. to see this van. I could see the van in my mirror. I looked behind to make sure he was slowing down. I let him know. I let Paul
I saw
know.
the one in front. I was looking. I saw the one in front.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I was looking for the guy in the back in that van.
Yeah.
To see if he was going to slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking behind the van. Paul thought I didn't see the other car. That's why he said, watch out, watch out. But it's kind of like Ed's going to end up apologizing, which was nice. But, you know, he's been riding for a while. You can't take those chances. We said car back. And if you're going to jump in the road like he did, you got to look behind first. You can't just get out there because you got a lot of people around. I mean, you got to check because you're leading us. So, anyway, it was a mistake. It was you know. But anyway, he's going to apologize as we come by. He's going to say, sorry, guys, I didn't see that car, you know, which was cool, you know.
Sorry, guys, I didn't see that car coming.
Yeah, that's a class act. Yeah. So you just have to be careful. By yourself or in the group, check. A lot of times I'm on that road by myself. If it's very busy, I will even stop on the shoulder to wait for them to go, and then I turn. Yeah, so that's fine. Okay, the driver blew just to let Ed know, don't go any more to the left, because he had gone over the yellow line, the driver, and he was passing. That's why he blew, because he expected us to wait for him. So that's okay. Just always be cautious when you're out there. You're sharing the road. So Doug is pulling right now, and Paul Ilonga is sitting on his wheel, and I am on Paul Ilonga's wheel. We've got the wind behind us from the east. I believe we're headed mostly west right now. So the difference on this ride, we get to that, there's a 9% climb that's coming up in about 3 kilometers, probably about 2.5 miles, 2 miles. And Doug pulls us the whole way. He keeps the effort hard but steady. There's no attacks or anything. It's a different kind of riding when you ride like that. So if in your group people surge and they attack or whatever, you have to decide, do I expend the energy here to go with them, or do I just hold my pace? Because you can always hold a steady pace, and the people who surge, if they slow down and you hold a steady pace, you can reel them in. You don't have to be doing jumps or whatever. So when I used to compete, I didn't attack hills with the lighter guys because the hill favored them. I just stayed near my threshold and I would pull them back on the descent. Because small riders can't handle a lot of wind, and especially flat, windy roads. They're tired out. They're not used to those big watts that you have to put out. So Doug sits up here for a while because he's been pulling since we turned after Ed pulled off. So when you're pulling in your group, pay attention to the effort, not so much your speed. Because if you, in a situation like today where we're coming back, it was very windy. If you push too hard, you can wear out your legs and you can start cramping and so forth. I thought I was behind Paul. I guess I'm further back. I'm going to move up after we get up the climb. Yeah, I'm in the back. That's Kenny. Kenny's recovering from an injury earlier in the winter. He was on a group ride, and I think his cleat, he had a problem with his cleat, and he tried to get back in and his legs slipped and got caught in the front wheel, and he had a hard fall. It was unfortunate, but it's good to see him back. Our sport just has all kinds of inherent risks, but you know what? As I always say, get busy living. That's Paul's computer telling him to climb. I bet you that's what the beat was. The Garmin software has these things where they recognize certain climbs depending on where you're riding. And so it's telling him, climb. You know, I need you to tell me to climb. There's the beep again. It usually lets you know when you're a few meters from the start of the climb, and it tells you to climb. Those of you who have a Garmin head unit, you know what I'm talking about. So now we get into the climb. Look at the percentage. 7, 8%, 9.7, almost 10%. And Doug keeps the effort going. You have to use the appropriate gear to ride like that. And this is how you ride climbs when you want to really build your strength. You don't always have to ride them in complete anger. There's a strong pace, it's steady, it's sustainable, and he just keeps riding. That's those ripples in the road. I don't know why they did it out here. This road is not... People just need to slow down. Not necessary. The pitch of the climb is not that steep to where you would slide out. You gotta slow down when it's wet. We found those things to be more slippery, for at least for bicycle wheels, when they're damp than the regular road surface anyhow. That's basically telling him the climb's over. So I think it's like a segment or something. In a little bit, Doug will pull off. But what I don't want is for Paul to film the road. So when Doug pulls off, I'm going to come to the front. I think somewhere around here, Doug's gonna pull off. So once I see him pull to the left, I'm going to come from the back because I don't want Paul sitting here filming the road. And just I'm maintaining the same effort. Keep the train moving. The road's going up here. You see 4%. I downshift to keep the effort the same. It's not about the speed you're traveling at. So we got a lot of wind coming from the right, and this road is going up. You can visually see it. I love this part of town. Whenever I get a chance and I have the time, I come out here. It gives a good riding and it's very beautiful, very scenic, very quiet, sparsely populated. As the road levels off slightly downhill, the speeds will go up. I keep the effort the same. I go through the gears. I may be riding at 53.19 or something like that. So you got to focus on that. Keep your effort the same. Even when you're riding solo, whatever effort you decide to do, try to keep the effort the same as a gauge to make sure you're not getting garbage miles in. This would, group allows people who are not comfortable with the effort to at least find some kind of a rhythm. The road goes up here, you can see it. Downshift, keeping the effort the same. You can see my heart rate is around 160, 165, something like that. That's the range. I don't look at it much. You just kind of, after a while, you can tell by feel where you are. I know I've got a long day in the saddle. I think the ride ended almost 12:45 p.m. So we got more than 4 hours to ride. Paul pulled out of the line, I think, to blow his nose. He's going to drift to the back. I think he pulled off to get a shot. Side view. Looks odd with that wide angle camera. So these two guys are new to our group up there. Ed's been riding with us for some time. And Alfonso is new to the group. I got to meet him on Saturday. So I'm posting our ride on the public forum to try to attract other riders. Specifically riders that are not, let's say, the highest level. So people can be encouraged to come out. We can split up the groups. So right around here, I'm trying to pull off. You see my cadence dropping. I waved the guy up. I guess he didn't see my signal or whatever. So he sits next to me for quite a bit. And I had to wave him up again before he goes by. Then he asked me if we were turning left. It's one of the new guys to the ride, to the group. So yeah, I want to get off the front. He's still following me. So I'm on the right shoulder so he can go by. He doesn't go by. I end up telling him, yeah, go on through. The camera doesn't pick it up, but I've already told him to go on through. Then he asked, will we turn left? I told him, yeah. At the top of the hill there now, Kenny on the left here next to Doug is going to ask us to stop because this rider on the right, his rear wheel is rubbing on the brake, on the left brake pad. That's what Kenny's telling him. You gotta rub and brake. So we need to stop to fix it or whatever. I don't know how you can miss that. You could hear it like tweet, tweet, tweet. It was driving me nuts early in the ride. I wasn't sure what it was. So I just made sure I didn't follow him. I don't like to hear those kind of noises when I'm riding. So we're turning left, and then someone then will stop, and we just kind of roll through, and we slow down till we end up regrouping. But check your bike before you go on any ride. Make sure everything's working so you don't have problems during your ride. If you find something off when you get home, fix it before the next ride. So right there, they stop.
What happened?
Give him a second. All you gotta do is screw it.
He's got rim brakes, the rubbing. They're easy to fix. So I heard that. I just keep rolling. I'm just going to roll slowly. We're going to end up stopping up the road. But anyhow, I don't know what you did this weekend, but this is part of what we did on Saturday. I ended up doing a little over 162 kilometers, and it was a very, very enjoyable ride. Very challenging, lots of wind and hills, and got a good workout. So I hope that you continue to get out there and keep every doctor fired. So we're all just kind of sitting up. We're just rolling, keeping our legs because it's a rim brake, it's rubbing. I figure he would just grab it and pull it. That's the kind of stuff I can even fix on my bike while I'm still moving. You got to be careful. You don't get your hands in the wrong spot. But yeah, if you do stop, it doesn't take long. You just kind of move it over. But it turns out that his wheel was out of true. Has a weak spoke, a loose spoke somewhere, and so it has a bit of a dip. So remember, get your K's in and keep every doctor fired.
That's what was driving me crazy. I kept hearing the noise.
The what?
I kept hearing the noise.
From whose bike?
That guy in there. Great. He said his brakes are running. He just needs a pull. He's got rim brakes.